doing?
Doing very well. Thank you, and appreciate having you here. And
thank you for having me.
Of course. And, as I mentioned, we're coming up in just about a day, in the anniversary of your grandfather's arrest. And, for people my age, this was such a huge case, and I know all the details like the back of my hand, but maybe for some people, they haven't really heard who is Mumia Abu-Jamal, and how did he end up being one of the longest serving political prisoners in the United States?
Well, I think this is a case of, actually at this point, people who aren't getting into good trouble is really a way of suspending the revolution. And Mumia Abu-Jamal is a worldwide renowned journalist, activist. His commentaries, there's people who enjoy his commentaries all over the world, and his people around the world really appreciate his critique of capitalism and, just really fighting for the people. So who's Mumia? Like Mumia can be a different thing to depending on who we're talking to. But to many people I've talked to around the world, Mumia is an inspiration to like everyone. And how he became the longest, how he became 41 years in prison really comes down to, how he really defied a generation of media, who really wanted to discredit and obstruct Black liberation movements. Mumia Abu-Jamal, even incarcerated, he still maintained his innocence and, I guess his status as a revolutionary journalist and speaking out. So many people really believe that because he hasn't been quiet and because he supports so many people, he's still incarcerated to this day.
How is his health at this point? What's the treatment like for him? I mean, all these years behind bars, where there's been various campaigns around the issue of his health and how he's being treated behind bars.
Well, it's not good. Right now, the current campaign is giving him a cardiac diet, which the jails have really been pushing back and fighting us back on. And the reason why he needs a cardiac diet is because he just survived heart surgery. I believe last year he just survived heart surgery. And along with heart surgery, right, he's had a severe case of eczema, and he's had he has a litany of health concerns, which really tells a story of our elders being imprisoned for so long, right? Like the prison is not really designed for our elders to really, survive their imprisonment because of so much, just so much behind the scenes and the neglect, the elder abuse that our elders really experience.
There's so much that could be said here about the deep injustices that the legal system has laid out in terms of keeping him in prison all these years. But talk a little bit about, if you could, the some of that really, because I mean it's honestly astonishing. Maybe it shouldn't be astonishing or surprising, but it is shocking. From the original trial on, how much has been done to railroad him?
Well, the original trial. So when I talk about my grandfather's case, I really like to talk about what's current, right? Because for 40 years, if Mumia would have been free because of the legality of his case, he would have been free a long time ago, right? And when it comes to Mumia Abu-Jamal in the court systems, racism really remains like the elephant in the room that nobody talks about, right? Nobody talks about the original trial court judge, Albert Sabo, who is infamous for his overt racism and sexism, right? Him saying, "I'm going to help them fry the N-word," and this was reported by a clerk, a court clerk, Terry Morrow Carter, and a fellow common pleas court judge. This was reported by them, during the original trial. So if a judge says, I'm going to help him file the N-word, we know that, racism is definitely in the courtroom, right? We also had, ADA Jack McMahon. He made a policy clear in around like 1986, right? Stating that, getting a competent and fair and impartial jury is ridiculous. And, if you do put black people on the stand, make sure they're from the South and make sure they're older, right? It's a lot of like, you have to be oblivious to the overt racism to even believe that this man should still be incarcerated, right? So in October, we had a judge, Lucretia Clemens. She basically gave a 31-page report with an intent to dismiss, and the reasoning was that she was just basically saying that a lot of our stuff was it just couldn't be proven, and a lot of our stuff, like she was really hampering on the defense in the 90s. That she said that they didn't do their due diligence, which we know was a lie, right? And we're really just fighting to get to bring this guy home. And when it comes to just him being railroaded by the justice system, him being denied appeals, right? We can talk about not only Albert Sabo, but we can talk about the Ron Castile, being a person that really benefited in his original railroad court trial, being the person that denies his appeals, for years and years, and that just came about. But we can also talk about in 2012, I believe, when they didn't want to pursue the death penalty no longer. They put him on life in prison. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, Mumia Abu-Jamal is a case, that we haven't really seen a state go through the lengths of keeping a man incarcerated.
And of course, this isn't just any person to you. This is a family member. This is your grandfather. What's this like for your family? I mean, to have for all these years such a crucial, important person in your family be held for political reasons like this.
Well, and I think I'm echoing many people whose families are incarcerated, especially in this whole pipeline of prisons era, mass incarceration. It really throws. It really disrupts your family, right? Because remember, like Mumia, he was a father, right? And like my dad, who bears my name, right? My dad, had to lose his dad at a very, very young age, right? All my life, my grandfather has been incarcerated. And I'm pretty sure many people out there feel the same way, where they feel like it's unfair, and when we're talking about people being incarcerated for so long for like really a case of reasonable doubt, if not like just a straight up like, mistrial case. And we're just, it really hurts to see the state of Pennsylvania keeping my grandfather behind bars for so long.
Hear that, Pennsylvania? You Pennsylvanians that's out there, like I said, you brothers that was in the barbershop dropped the ball. Alley hoop was passed, you niggas dropped it. Could have discussed Mumia Abu-Jamal case. Let's go.
Right, and it hurts me. It hurts my children. It hurts my cousins. Right, many of my family, is really trying their best, to like live with the pain to have, Mumia behind bars. Right, and I really can't explain in words the constant state of mild to deep depression that I experience because my grandfather is still in bars.